Keith Thurman raising some eyebrows as he has classified Devin Haney as a slightly scared fighter. Is Devin Haney a scared fighter? Let's talk about it.
If it ever lines up, it lines up, man. You know, he don't hurt nobody. What's that man gonna do? Man, he's getting stronger. He gets to eat more. Oh, like, bro, you're still not that. And, you know, he don't even fight with those kind of cojones. You know what I mean? He's the definition of boxing. Hit and don't get hit. Nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. Besides, I'm probably going to fall asleep next time I try to watch it. But if Devin Haney had cojones, if Devin Haney really had the tenacity to take risk, okay? There's certain things that we classify fighters a lot of ways. One way you can classify Haney is slightly in the category of what's called a scared fighter. And that's why there's no cojones.
What up, YouTube? Big T.O. Heavy Bat Boxing TV, man. Get your goofy ass in here and hit the bag. Hit that like button for your boy. That helps the channel. You know, I appreciate that love. Shout out my guys, my gang, my bag hitters. Big shout out to Tyrese Celestine, my guy, Mark Wynn. Listen, this is a peer of Devin Haney, right? Maybe an older peer. Keith Thurman getting a little longer in the tooth at 35 years old. But a peer nonetheless. And sometimes, you know, these peers be telling their truths. Now, depending on how well of a friend you are to Devin Haney, you might be reluctant to say certain things. But we have heard other fighters say certain things about a Devin Haney. And for Keith Thurman, he classifies Devin Haney and his style as a scared fighter, not willing to take risk. And it was interesting to me, and I wanted to do this video because we seen Mayweather in the latter part of his career, in some of those fights, a few of those fights, not be so much of a risk taker, because it got to the point where people wasn't just paying to see Mayweather fight, but they was paying to see if somebody could beat him, if he could lose. And I think with the particular style that Devin Haney has, he could potentially get there. But can you actually get there in this day and time, which is it's a different time, and there's only one Floyd Mayweather, but can you make it to that status at this point in time, this day and age, with that particular style? Now, when you look at Devin Haney's fights, I do see where, you know, especially since the Linares fight, or even the Jojo Diaz fight, I felt like he's picked a lot of good spots to kind of sit in the pocket and bang, but he's not staying there long. And when you get so many people who feel the same way about your fights, listen, everybody can't be wrong. Because I feel like I'm a purist and a big fan of the sweet science, I tend to enjoy those kind of fights. I can find enjoyment in a Devin Haney fight. I can find enjoyment in a Shakur Stevenson fight. You know what I mean? Now, don't get it tangled and twisted and fucked up. You know, I like a straight war too, for sure. But, you know, I like all elements of the sport of boxing. That's just what I like. But for the average fan, even the average hardcore fan, it's not exciting to them, which goes back to what Keith Thurman is trying to say. He doesn't feel Devin Haney's a big risk taker. And in his style, it's definitely more pure boxing. The art of the sweet science, to hit and to not get hit. But does that make you a scared fighter? Now, listen, a lot of people are going to say that you're not scared for the simple fact that you're a fighter and you stepped in the ring with somebody who could potentially knock you the fuck out, right? But when you really look at it and you break it down and you're not willing to take any risk in a fight, to some extent, you are scared of getting knocked out, right? If you're not willing to sit in those pockets and battle or really make a classic war from time to time, you can't, you know, from even a fighter's perspective, you know what I'm saying? You want to go toe to toe, hombre to hombre. You know what I mean? Like man to man. You sometimes you want to see that out of your favorite fighters, or at least out of a fighter that you're paying to see. Say what you want about Keith Thurman, great footwork, but we've seen a lot of fights where Thurman has sat there in the pocket and traded relentlessly, right? You don't typically see that in a Devin Haney fight. Now, be it as it may, man, the boy got skills, and he doesn't need to do it, right? Devin Haney does not need to take a lot of risk to beat you because he's just that skilled. When you look at the Regis Prograis fight, there wasn't any times in that fight, and I promise you, if you go back and look at the fight, there was no time in that fight where more than 4 seconds he was just sitting in that pocket willing to trade with a Regis Prograis, right? He executed the perfect game plan to negate everything about Regis and never give Regis a chance to land anything significant because he avoided just sitting in the pocket. He avoided having anything that even resembled a war in the pocket with a Regis Prograis. And I think that's what Keith Thurman is basically saying. And ultimately, you know, you can be stamped. And I think the public has done that. They like to, you know, create these narratives, or they like to call these fighters boring fighters. They like to call these fighters runners. And as far as Keith Thurman is concerned, he's classified Devin Haney as a slightly scared fighter, not willing to take risk to make wars and fights and make great fights. And you take that how you want to. I think it depends on, you know, the type of fight fan or boxing fan that you are. You can appreciate Devin Haney's style, or you could look at it as completely boring, the type of style that you really don't want to see. That's what it boils down to. But personally, for me, you know what I mean, just giving you my opinion, I think a fighter who comes into a fight and not willing to make any aspect of the fight extremely entertaining by trying your best to knock somebody out, or just going mano-a-mano, even if it's for an extremely limited time in the fight. Now, you can execute your great game plan against a flat-footed fighter whom you know you can box circles around, but at some point in that fight, I just kind of want you to sit there, tee off on them, and see if you can get them out of there. Or let me just stand right in front of them half of this round and see what happens. Now, you're opening yourself up for anything to happen, but that's the type of risk that a lot of fight fans want to see you take. And again, I can appreciate it all, but from my personal opinion, or from what I personally like, I would love to see, you know, Devin Haney just stand in there with somebody from time to time. And I ain't talking about no in and out, oh, I'm in here in the pocket, boom, 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 we let a flurry go and I'm out of there. Stand your ground. You know what I'm saying? I'm right here. I ain't going nowhere, and I'm pressing forward. What you gonna do? This is my opinion. But you guys let me know what your opinion is in the comment section. That's all I got for y'all on this one, man. Big T.O. Heavy Bag. You know who I got with me, man. Talk to him, Roger.
Most motherfuckers don't know shit about boxing.